Macaroni and cheese. It's a dish that's been bastardized, glamorized, and regulated to the box aisle at your local supermarket. But at its heart, mac and cheese is a deeply personal comfort food, an indulgence. And when done right, it's transcendent. It's the food you eat when you want to feel better about the world or when you've just given up about caring about anything else for the moment. I'm Aaron Walker, and this is Beyond the Burner. Let's start with the basics, the cheese. First cheese is gruyere, creamy, nutty, and just earthy enough to keep things interesting. It's the baseline, the unsung hero of your dish. Pair this with sharp white cheddar, which brings tang and depth, cutting through the richness like a good saxophone solo, and a sharp yellow cheddar too. Sure, it's a bit more traditional, but it's there for the color, nostalgia, and that unmistakable punch. Finally, there's parmesan, the closer, the finisher. Salty, umami-packed, and a little sharp. This one will only be for the topping mixture with the panko. However, all four of these cheeses are the soul of the dish. They work in harmony, building layers of flavor that make every bite better than the last. Shred your gruyere, white cheddar, and yellow cheddar, and mix them together. Reserve them for use in the cheese sauce later. Shred your parmesan as well, but keep it separate and reserved for your topping mixture later. Next comes the pasta. Cavatappi pasta to be exact. Why cavatappi? Well, besides its exceptional mouthfeel, those ridges and curves aren't just easy to pick up with a fork and eat. They hold on to the sauce like their life depends on it. Spaghetti's too thin, elbows don't have enough character. Cavatappi is where structure meets substance. It really is pasta designed to embrace cheese. And to be honest, if you're going to pour your heart into mac and cheese, you need a pasta that's going to rise to the occasion. Boil the pasta until al dente, strain, and reserve it for later. A convenient way to reserve the pasta without it drying out is to toss it in a light coating of oil before chilling or setting aside. Now it's time to preheat your oven. Set it to 375 Fahrenheit or 190 Celsius and start working on the rest of the recipe. Great cheese needs a great foundation. Enter the bechamel. This is where so many people go wrong. You can't just dump cheese into hot milk and expect magic to happen on its own. You start with a roux, equal parts butter and flour. Melt the butter, whisk in the flour, and cook it until it smells like toasted nuts. Don't rush this by blasting the heat. Medium-low is completely fine. This is the part where you're laying the groundwork for greatness. It's the thickener, but it's also the base of the sauce. It makes everything else possible. Next, whisk in the whole milk. None of that skim nonsense. This isn't a diet food. You want richness, you want decadence. Bring the milk mixture to a boil, whisking the entire time. Then drop the heat to low and simmer until it thickens, still whisking. You're looking for a velvety thick texture known simply as nappe. Whisk constantly until there are no more lumps and the thickness is nappe. No shortcuts. This is a labor of love, and love takes time. That being said, if your burner is too hot, the thickening process can go very, very quickly, so be attentive to its consistency as you whisk. Once it's nappe, remove it from the heat and begin seasoning. This is where you bring the sauce to life. Add salt, and don't be shy, but don't overdo it. White pepper for a subtle bite that won't overpower, a pinch of nutmeg for warmth, and a whisper of cayenne for a little bit of heat that lingers at the back of your throat. This isn't about making it spicy, it's about balance, complexity, and intrigue. Off the heat, you stir in your cheeses. Let them melt, let them blend, let them become one. Taste it, adjust the seasoning if it needs it, add a little more of this, a little less of that. This is your moment to make it yours. Once the sauce is ready, it's time to bring in the pasta. Stir the cavatappi right into the sauce. Every ridge, every curve needs to be coated. This isn't just mixing, it's a union. A marriage of sauce and pasta. You want every bite to be perfect. Every piece of pasta needs to carry its weight drenched in cheesy glory. Next, transfer everything to a 9x13 inch casserole dish and spread it out evenly like an artist finishing a canvas. But we're not done yet. A topping is what separates the good from the great. Panko breadcrumbs for crunch, parmesan for salty bite, parsley, because you're not a barbarian, chop it fresh if you can get it. Mix the cheese, panko, and herb together. Sprinkle the topping generously and evenly across the top of the macaroni. Don't skimp here, this is where texture meets flavor. Into the oven it goes, 375 degrees Fahrenheit or 190 Celsius for 25 minutes. Just enough time to pour yourself a glass of something nice. Wine, beer, whiskey, whatever pairs with nostalgia and indulgence. Think about your friends you're going to serve this to, or maybe the fact that you're going to sit on the couch and eat it straight out of the pan. No judgment here. When it's done, it'll come out golden, bubbling, and perfect. The top should have just the right crunch, giving way to that creamy, cheesy decadence underneath. The smell alone will make you forget the world outside your kitchen. Rich, creamy, with just the right amount of bite from the cheddar, the nuttiness of the gruyere, the salty kick of the parmesan, and the satisfying crunch of the breadcrumbs. This isn't just mac and cheese, it's everything that's good about the world, layered with cheese and baked to perfection. It's not fast food, it's slow food. Food worth taking your time for. Food that reminds you why you fell in love with eating in the first place. So there you have it, mac and cheese done right. Now go, make yours. And when you do, don't forget to savor it, because food like this, it deserves your full attention. See you next week, and as always, stay hungry.